Hello book lovers, my name is Alan and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to do my first wrap-up video and I'm going to talk about the books and the audiobooks that I read and listened in February. So let's do this. The first book that I'm going to talk about today is White Fragility by DiAngelo, which talks about how white people are dealing with the problem of racism. The concept of white fragility refers to how white people look at their whiteness. And the author observes that white people are very cautious in taking courses on racism and being taught by people of color. She emphasizes several times throughout the book that not only bad people are racists, but also good people. And this is what keeps racism in its place. This white sensibility and the belief that only bad people are racist. And we can see this in how white people defend themselves when they are accused of being racists. They say things like, I have friends who are black, I dated a black girl, or I participated in the black civil movement, and so on. So this book teaches us how to look at ourselves and understand how we manifest our hidden racism. So this is a really good book. So I would definitely recommend it to you guys. The second book that I want to talk about today is Sexual Intelligence by Marty, Klein. And this book provides us with some insights on how to have a better sex life and understand the meaning of sex and how it changes over time from being horny to independent sex. According to Marty Klein, sexual intelligence has three elements: information and knowledge, body awareness, and emotional ability. The author destroys several myths about sexuality, like there is no such thing as normal sexuality. And he believes our entire body is an erogenous zone, not only our reproductive system and the traditional erogenous zones. So if we want to improve our sex life, we need to do few things. First, we need to communicate with our partner about what we want from them. The second thing is accepting our bodies. This will create a better connection between partners. The third thing is we need to stop thinking about our performance in bed, because this can have an impact on how we perform. And sometimes things like alcohol, drugs, or health can be an impediment for our sex life. And not to forget sexually transmitted diseases. This can definitely destroy our sex lives. Another book, or actually audiobook, that I want to talk about today is Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell. And this book is about how we are dealing with strangers. There are 12 stories about different people encountering strangers and how they interpreted or misinterpreted them. As I said, I listened to the audiobook and I would recommend you to listen to the audiobook too, because the storytelling is so powerful and it contains original material from the people involved in these stories. Plus, Malcolm Gladwell recommends this version too. The book starts and ends with the tragic story of Sandra Bland, who was coming from an interview and her car gets stopped by a state trooper. They start a normal conversation, but at one moment, their conversation escalates. And he tells her that she's under arrest and she needs to get out of her car. She refuses and he drags her out of the car, takes her to the police station, and after 3 days in jail, she kills herself. Other stories that I found interesting is Neville Chamberlain's meeting with Adolf Hitler and the fact that the British Prime Minister wasn't able to read his real intentions. And the case of Ana Maria Montes, who was working for the DIA, and at the same time she was a Cuban spy, and the process of discovering that she was working for the Cuban regime. Another book that I read this month is An Introduction to Artificial Intelligence, and I believe this book is useful for anyone who wants to know a little bit about this area. And these are the things that I found interesting in this book. There is not a clear definition of what artificial intelligence is, and the discipline is not considered a hard science yet, like computer science is. An interesting fact that I found in this book is that in the 19th century, the job of computers was done mostly by women because they were considered more meticulous. Artificial intelligence works by identifying patterns, and there are different ways you can train a machine to identify an object or an image. At this moment, an AI machine can do a very good job with image and face recognition, but is not that good with understanding and recognizing language. Another thing that this book touches is how philosophy looks at artificial intelligence, and if we can consider artificial intelligence similar to human intelligence, or just a simulation of it, or a total different thing. If we program a machine to talk like it has feelings, does that mean it really has feelings? The last thing that the book discusses is the problem of automation, and if this will have an impact on our jobs. Jerry Kaplan's conclusion is that automation will replace a lot of repetitive jobs, but at the same time there will be new jobs created to replace the jobs lost. So this is a book that you definitely need to read. The last book that I will talk about today is 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. And I wanted to read this book for some time because I had this negative opinion about Jordan Peterson, mostly based on other people's opinion about him. And I read this book, and this is what I got from it. I think Peterson is a poor copy of Joseph Campbell. Of course, if we look at their public speaking skills, they're both comparable. But if we look at the interpretation of myths and legends, Peterson lacks knowledge and insight. Another thing that I found in his book is that he is very sexist, and he left me perplexed with his concept of women, and the type of men that he promotes is some sort of caveman. If you want some rules for life, it is better to ask a friend or a relative. They might know more than Peterson does. If you want to know what he's talking about, you can always listen to a lecture on YouTube or read his answers on Quora. That's how his book came about. He talks in his book about being precise in speech, but by reading each chapter of his book, his writing says the opposite. Rules are made to be broken, and especially Jordan Peterson's rules, some of them being very comical at times. Enough is enough. This book is chaos unleashed. This was my wrap-up video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit that like button, add a comment, and subscribe to my channel to see new videos every week. See ya!